Meet the Underdogs. Sports Talk Chicago here with Jon Zaghloul. The Bears are being called underdogs by the national media. What's it mean? Why are they wrong? And how well will the Bears really do? All comes up in just a second. New to the channel, subscribe, like this video, set up notifications. You don't miss a thing. We talk Chicago Bears daily on this show. We also have interviews with former Bears players and members of the Bears media. Make sure you find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You can watch all of my shows, podcasts, interviews, and articles. Head on over to sportstalkchicago.com. I want to start today with this. I'm not a big gambler. I don't disrespect or hate anybody who does it, but I just don't do it. Not a thing of mine. I do know one thing, though, that comes from gambling, and it's pretty prolific. The underdog. The concept of the underdog. How many times do we talk about it? How much intrigue is with it? How many movies and TV shows and sitcoms have been made surrounding it? The underdog. Everybody's always intrigued. There's always a shroud of mystery around it. Because 99 times out of 100, they do lose. But there's that one time, that one Sunday, that one game where it matters most, where they make a comeback, where they make an unprecedented run and win. At times, they could be a bettor's nightmare, but in other instances, they could be a bettor's savior. The underdog. We as a society love underdogs. We cheer them on. We love the little engine that could. We love seeing them rise up from nothing to something. There's just so much intrigue and so much publicity surrounding underdogs, even in the NFL. The Bears are being branded as a season-long underdog. That's what's happening here. Here from Bears Digest, quote, Bears are playing the underdog card. The Bears approach week one of the season in general, already playing that underdog card with the chip on their shoulder. The Bears are already 6.5-point underdogs week one against San Francisco. I think they're going to win that game. We're going to have a game preview later this week to talk about it, but how are they not going to win? They're facing Trey Lance. This guy barely thrown passes. And the NFL or college, too. How are you telling me they're going to be a 6.5-point underdog? This is the disrespect from the national media, from bettors, from everybody. It all goes back to the intrigue, though, of the underdog. 99 times out of 100, they do not win. They are not gifted enough. They're not talented enough. They're just not there. But I'll tell you what, maybe this Bears team isn't the best. Maybe they're not constructed the best. We know that. This is not the year of winning. This is not the year of $120 million plus in cap space. This is the Bears in 2022. No, they're not going to be great. No, they're not going to be Super Bowl champions. But I will argue to this day, I'll die on this hill, they're not going to be 3-14. They're not going to be the last team in the NFC North, one of the worst teams in football, as ESPN put it. We've been covering this trend all summer, even in the spring after the draft. Everybody said from May on, watch out, the Bears are going to be bad. Bears suck. Worst team, one of the 5 worst teams. I don't see it. That's not me being a fan. It's not me being biased. It's just the truth. Look at this roster. You've got David Montgomery. You've got Cole Kmet. You've got Darnell Mooney. Justin Fields is your quarterback. You still got Robert Quinn. You have some sort of defensive alignment. New coaches. New GM. Do you really think they're going to go 3-14? Are they going to be the worst team in football? No. One word answer, no. Anybody comes up to you and says, Bears are going to be the worst, tell them, no, they're not. And this all goes back to the underdog mentality. And I love it. The Bears are embracing the fact that they are underdogs. They have a chip on their shoulder. That's how it should be. Look, the Bears have not earned anything. I'll be honest with you. They haven't earned a 7-10 projection. They haven't earned being a playoff team projection. They've earned nothing. And that's why they're being projected as a 3-14 bottom feeder. But I'll tell you what, that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. Sports Illustrated and CBS ranked the Bears 30th in the polls for week 1. The Ringer has them 29th and ESPN 25th. But here's what Darnell Mooney had to say in response, quote, "Everybody is down on us, so I guess we will be a surprise team." He also said this in response to asking why the Bears are being ranked so low, quote, "Because we don't have any names, if you're going to go by names or whatever, or Madden or whatever. That's how people think." They do. Hey, newsflash, a lot of these people are stupid. A lot of these people don't even know or follow the Bears closely enough to make an evaluation on who they are. They do go by Madden or other sorts of rankings. Oh, his rating is 65 on Madden. He sucks. Where are you getting this from? The media, in this case, is lying to you. The media is not right now. They are not projecting the Bears. They're not giving them their due diligence. And I get the Bears haven't earned anything. But to suggest with Justin Fields, with David Montgomery, with Darnell Mooney, with Robert Quinn, that they're going to be a 3-14 team with a new head coach, new offensive system, new GM, this doesn't make sense. Here to tell you right now, it doesn't make sense. It's not right. It's blasphemous. Really, it's wrong. And it all goes back to our open, the underdog. When everybody counts them out, are they willing to stand up? When everybody says they can't do it, are they willing to say, yes, we can? Only time will tell. But I firmly believe that this Bears team has more bite than people think. If the Bears won last year, they beat the Bengals with Matt Nagy. You're going to tell me that this team, in this iteration, cannot at least potentially match their record from last year? Come on. What are we talking about here? But I love the fact that they're being discounted and torn to shreds nationally. Bring it on. Keep talking, keep running your mouths on your TV shows, saying how bad the Bears are going to be. Because you do it for clicks, you do it for ratings, and that's fine. Where's everyone going to be, though, when the Bears prove them wrong? I'll be here taking my victory lap. I'll tell you right now, I will be. Where will everybody else be? Look, they're not going to be a Super Bowl winner. They're not even going to be a playoff team. We know that. That's fine. You don't have to sit here and convince me, oh, hey, the Bears have a superstar roster. They don't. We know that. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be this bad or this unsuccessful. They're going to have all these problems. They're going to fail to a massive proportion. They're going to be the worst team in football. No. Nope. That is propaganda from the national NFL media at its finest. So the Bears will continue, as it says in this article, to play the underdog card. And they will play with a chip on their shoulder. And that's the way you got to do it. And that's what I appreciate. Reminds me a lot of the 2014 Cubs, 2015 Cubs even. The 2015 Cubs were not expected to win 97 games. They were expected to maybe be 500, then 2016 was going to be their year. And instead, they blew everybody out of the water. They didn't have a full team yet, but they had some pieces, and everybody worked together, and they won lots of games. Same idea here. I'm not saying the Bears are going to win 10 games and make a wild card spot or win 12 and win the division, no, but we will see progress. We will see good things. We will see promise from this team and this core group, and come next year, they're going to be a big-time contender. I can tell you that right now. Next year or the year after. Go ahead. Continue to discount them. Continue to say they can't do it. They will. Mark my words. They will. I mean, really, do you really think they're going to be 3-14? 3-14. Do you understand the level of mediocrity that insinuates We're talking about a deep, rooted level of mediocrity to the point where they barely win, where they're always losing, where there's always failure and depression and issues. That's not the case. And I'm not trying to be a cheerleader. I'm not trying to say the Bears are going to be great, but 3-14 just makes no sense to me. I've seen this team. They're not a 3-14 football team. A 3-14 football team would be the Jaguars from last year with Urban Meyer kicking his kicker. Having Trevor Lawrence throw 17 picks and 9 touchdowns. That is a horrible team. The Lions of 2008 going 0-16. Horrible team. The Lions last year. Horrible team, but they still played tough. Still a bad team, though. I wouldn't trust my team with Jared Goff. That's my point. Everybody has to relax. And I would hope that as the Bears pile up some wins during the season, people are going to start to sidetrack a bit. And say, no, I didn't say they were going to be bad. Yeah, you did. Everyone in the media has said they're going to be bad. Locally, maybe not as much, but nationally, yes. Nobody believes in this team. Nobody thinks they're capable of anything that's significant or worth talking about. Maybe they will go 3-14. Maybe they'll go 10-7. I can see a path in which they could go 10-7. Their schedule is not that hard. It's pretty easy, actually. One of the lowest strength of schedules in the NFL today. Don't tell me that this is just going to be a horrible team and a colossal failure for the Bears, Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles, and the whole crew. I don't see it happening. If you know about this team, if you followed them closely, you would know this is not some 3-14 team. And there's talent. Now, everybody has to work together. People have to mesh. People have to have some chemistry here. It's not just all going to come naturally, but the idea that they're just going to be bad just by default makes no sense. The idea that they're just going to be a mediocre team, that they don't even know, they have no concept of winning, is wrong. There's a new culture at Hallis Hall. It's not Matt Nagy. It's not egotism. It's not Ryan Pace trading all your picks away and overpaying for players. It's not even Ted Phillips. He's going to be leaving at the end of the year. It's Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus running the show with new players, some old faces, and a new mindset. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be 3-14. So when you make your bets this year, some of you, and you do season-long bets on the Bears, their record, how many points they score, what Justin Fields does, word of advice, you may want to take the over. If your sports book is saying the Bears are going to be 3-14 or 4-win, 5-win team, I would say take the over. You won't regret it. This Bears team is not going to be that bad. Wake up. National media, wake up. Sports books, wake up. Even some local media, wake up. It's not going to be that bad. There's a potential for growth and success and better things to come. 99% of the time, yes, the underdog fails colossally. We know that. We're not stupid. If a team has more talent and bigger names and more physical athletes, they're going to win. That's how it works. If the Bears faced Kansas City tomorrow, 99 times out of 100, Kansas City is going to win. They're going to kick their ass. Not even going to be close. But there is one time in which they don't. That's why they say in the NFL, any given Sunday. That's in reference to the fact that any team could win on any given day. The Bears could be going up against Tampa, and the Bears could win. That's the beauty of football. That's the beauty of even the football playoffs. You could enter being 16-0, and in one game, your season's over. You don't have to have the best record in football. You just have to be the better team that day. That's why tons of 9-7 or 10-6 teams win the Super Bowl. It's happened all the time, even in baseball too. 2003, Cubs were the better team. The Marlins beat them and then won the World Series as a wild card team. 2006, Tigers, better team. Cardinals win. That's the point here. We have to rethink how we judge how someone's going to do and how we measure success. The Bears are not going to be 3-14. Sorry to burst your bubble. It's not going to happen. They are not going to be 3-14. And the mind-boggling part is there are so many people projecting just that. ESPN, Sports Illustrated, Odyssey. Why 3-14? I have no idea. I don't know where they get 3 wins from. But if you honestly think this Bears team in this iteration is going to be a 3-win team, then you have no idea what you're talking about. They're not going to win just 3 games. No way. Learn the game of football. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but read up on some of these players and read up on the guys the Bears have and what they've done this offseason. Maybe you're new. Maybe you don't know the Bears as well. That's okay, but don't just come out and say 3-14 and move on. How about do some research? The Bears did get a new head coach, new GM. They have a brand new quarterback in his second year, new offense for him that should cater to him. He's made adjustments in the offseason. They still have Robert Quinn. This is not a 3-14 team. And why that number continues to be tossed around is beyond me. They're not going to be 3-14. Everybody needs to relax. Everybody needs to think for themselves and stop feeding into a national narrative that buries the Bears. That's good, though. The Bears should be playing the underdog card. Good for them. 99% of the time, yes, the underdog loses. 1% of the time, it wins. This Bears team will win. And by win, I mean exceed all these stupid projections. They're not going to be 3-14. They're going to play their hearts out. And they'll probably win 6 or 7 games. I could see it. If not more. This is an absurd idea being spoken about by people who have no idea who the Bears are, who they hired, what they've done. They're just talking. They love to hear their voice. Do your research before commenting on how good the Bears are going to be. Word of wisdom again. Do your research. Watch this team play. Oh, the preseason doesn't matter. Who cares? They played well. They're clicking offensively. And I really believe they're going to win week 1. They're at home. They're facing Trey Lance, who's never thrown an NFL pass. Come on. So you're going to take Trey Lance over Justin Fields. The bettors will, at least. Bears are 6.5-point underdogs. Come on. Give me a break. I don't care if Justin Fields doesn't have as many weapons around him. The quarterback makes or breaks the game. You're saying, given the Niners a 6.5-point favorite, that Trey Lance is just better than Justin Fields. That's not true at all. And I still think Justin Fields needs to prove himself, but I'll tell you what, he is not worse than Trey Lance. Trey Lance has not even thrown any significant NFL passes. And he's battling for his job, really, with Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance is nothing. He's a blip on the radar. Justin Fields has had experience, bad experience, but still experience. And he's going to be better this year. That's actually a huge insult to him, to the Bears, and then propping up falsely Trey Lance, who does not deserve any praise or coverage or nothing. He hasn't thrown a meaningful pass. Why are these bettors and these sports books giving him the edge? He sucks. He does. Right now he sucks. Could be better by the end of the year, but right now he's done nothing. The Bears are playing into the underdog card. I like it. Everybody will try to sway you in the wrong way. You'll listen to your favorite bettors, your favorite analysts across the country. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't. Do yourself a favor and do the research for yourself. Then you'll start to realize, hey, this team isn't half bad. Maybe they'll win 6-7 games. But to those who continuously push the 3-14 narrative, try coming up with something original. Because saying the Bears will go 3-14 after reviewing their roster, reviewing the changes they've made, it's just lazy. If you're in it for clicks, go ahead. The Bears are going to be 3-14. If you're in it for honest, unbiased analysis, you'd know and realize pretty quickly that this is not a 3-14 team. Thanks for watching today's show here at BPOD TV, Jet TV, and YouTube. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. You can watch more of my show, find podcasts and interviews, head on over to sportstalkchicago.com. So long, everyone.